As we're celebrating workers, more Americans are saying that the economy isn't working for them. Hello, everybody. I'm Charles Payne in for Neil Cavuto, and this is a special Labor Day edition of Your World. The latest Fox News poll showing 80% of voters think the economy is in fair to poor shape, and more than half think President Biden's policies aren't helping things. So with the 2024 race heating up, is the economy going to be a key issue for voters? Let's get the read from Patrice Onwuka, director for the Center of Economic Opportunity at the Independent Women's Forum, and Democratic strategist Laura Fink. Patrice, let me start with you.
Absolutely, Charles. Good to see you. I do think that right now, if the election were held today, the economy, inflation would be #1 issues among voters, and President Biden's handling is underwater significantly, particularly with independents. Those in swing states, those are going to be the voters that are going to be deciding the next election. That said, at the start of 2020, I don't think anyone would have anticipated a pandemic disrupting the entire national economy or the nation and giving a lift up to President Biden. So it's early, but at this point, the economy is still a huge factor.
You know, Laura, some of the numbers that are trending along with President Biden, 19% said their personal situation, 19 points increase, rather, and those who say that their own personal situation has gotten more negative. And we see those sort of numbers across the board.
I think that's right. And Charles, I agree with Patrice. I think that this is going to be a huge issue in the 2024 campaign. And I think back to where Ronald Reagan was in 1983, where President Obama was in 2011, and they had similar sour economic ratings. I think the economy is kind of like when you go for, when you make moves to change the economy, to improve it. It's kind of like when you go on a diet and exercise plan. You work really hard in the beginning, but you don't necessarily see results. And I think what you'll see is jobs from the CHIPS Act, jobs from the infrastructure bill. Those are going to be coming online. I think right away, you're going to see prescription drug prices go down, which is certainly going to help voters' moods. And I think you're going to see those independents get a little bit happier. This is one of those things where it takes a little bit of time to see those investments. You're already seeing interest rates come down and you're starting to see, inflation come down. Right. And hopefully you'll see those interest rates start to come down as well.
You know, Patrice, but picking up on that theme, if you will, President Biden started off with steroids. It wasn't, we didn't have to build into this. The trillions of dollars that were poured into this economy made for some phenomenal nominal economic data. Phenomenal. But adjusted for inflation, I think, is where the problem is. And Laura just brought up inflation. Here's the rub. All of that money is fading away. All of that money will be gone. And all that will be left in the aftermath are high interest rate payments, highest than ever for credit cards. You've got 3 sources of consumer debt above $1 trillion. Auto loans, student loans, and now, of course, credit card loans. And delinquency rates are beginning to skyrocket.
Absolutely, Charles. A lot of those are figures that we've been tracking at Independent Women's Forum to give a wholesome picture to where household finances really are. You know, the student loan payments are going to be coming online soon, and there are many households that have not accounted for that in their budget. The excess savings that was built up during the pandemic because people kept their jobs, thankfully, and they didn't need the extra stimmy checks that President Biden was adamant about sending out. As a result of Bidenomics, beginning with the American Rescue Plan, inflation took off, whereas globally inflation was remaining low. So, you know, the fact that inflation is starting to moderate, I think it's a good thing, but that doesn't mean that prices have come back down to when President Biden took office. And Americans recognize that. They recognize how much more they're paying right now compared to 2 years ago, and they're connecting the dots between Bidenomics, American Rescue Plan, and all of these big-ticket spending bills and the inflation that we're seeing today.
Laura, I think Republicans are going to also pick up on the rebound in gasoline prices, considering what happened with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve and a mild winter last year. It was pretty good, pretty fortunate for everyone, but the numbers are starting to really tick up rapidly.
Well, if they expect gas prices to save them, I would say this, Charles, they should probably come up with something else. I think one of the challenges is that Republicans have put nothing on offer except tax cuts for the wealthy as their solution to all of the challenges that we are discussing and all of the frustrations that Americans are feeling right now. And so what one person may see as a rejection of Bidenomics, actually, when you look at the alternative and you see absolutely nothing coming out of that debate this past week, and you
Laura,
see
let me just jump in for 1 second, though, because Gasoline prices, the correlation between skyrocketing gasoline prices and presidential elections is undeniable. And there's a legitimate argument about the fact that there's been a war against drilling in this country. And consequently, now that all this oil has been taken out of the strategic reserve, which we pray we never need, or we don't need anytime soon, how will President Biden explain that to people who are making it just day to day? You know, according to the Lending Club, 61% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, I think that's a challenge, and I think the economy does need to improve, and I think Joe Biden is working on that. That said, the challenges that Americans are facing are real, and I think part of it is empathizing with that. I think also, again, I'll bring up the prescription drugs. So they may be paying more in gas prices, but you're seeing seniors and other Americans paying less for those regular prescription drugs that they require. When they look at what the Republicans have to offer, they're voting no against infrastructure bills. They're voting no against green factories in the South and in Ohio. And we haven't even begun to talk about the issues outside the economy, because although the issue of the economy is central, we've seen voters talk about and vote on other things, such as access to reproductive rights in Ohio and even
bring it back to abortion.
That's because this segment was about the economy. That's why we didn't talk about the other things. Real quick, Patrice, I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, I think House Republicans have been putting forward measures and ideas, particularly when it comes to reining in federal spending, when it comes to ensuring that we're actually not spending more now and leveraging the futures, our America's future. In debt. And so I think this idea that you spend more to make more, that's what got us into this high inflation to begin with. What we actually need is to cut back on the reckless spending in Washington. And I think that's what a lot of Americans want to see. Oh, and by the way, the Inflation Reduction Act, as President Biden admitted himself, was never about reducing inflation for regular folks.
All right, let's leave it there, ladies. Thank you both very, very much. Always appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.